Seconds out as we get ready for day number 2 of the St. Francis Tulsa Tough, and the whistle is blown and we are underway. Yesterday in the Cat 3s, we saw a solo rider going away all by himself. Can we have a breakaway again be successful here as we get ready to celebrate our FC Tulsa Arts District Criterium?
Well, these guys put on an awesome show last night, and we're expecting more of the same today as we get into our final few races of the day here. These guys, the mid-level amateurs out there right now in the Category 3s, all these riders start as a Category 5 rider. That's your beginning level license. As you get more experience and results, you move up the ranks to a 4, up to a 3 where these guys are. Then you go to a 2, a 1, and then there's also a professional license beyond that. So all these guys have a Category 3 license right in the middle of our amateur rankings.
Well, as a reminder, yesterday it was Austin Del Rosso who went away solo, riding almost 25 laps by himself. Cat 3 is getting ready to complete lap number 1 on the front, trying to be able to keep a steady pace, trying to be able to set it up for his team. That's going to be Skyway, presented by Domestic Coffee. That's Cade Pear. Cade, only 23 years old as he leads the field through. As a reminder, top 3 masters to the podium. Top 3 masters to the podium. So all morning long here at the FC Tulsa Arts District, our Criterium, L-shaped 6-corner course, 1.4 kilometers around, and riders continue to be able to challenge themselves, especially with the wind. As that wind is picking up, it makes the course a little bit more difficult on the backstretch. The Sound Pony Hill, a little bit of a gradual uphill. That makes the course difficult. Very, very different than what we had yesterday, that figure 8 dead flat course. Right now, riders getting into the final home stretch out of that final turn. It is approximately 250 meters long. You don't necessarily want to be first, but you definitely don't want to be last.
I see these guys all bunched up together. Riders using the opportunity to move up. That'll be the name of the game for a lot of the day today. Just make your way towards the front at all times. The battle never stops in the fight for position here at Tulsa Tough, and these guys going through it right now. Couple guys taking a look off the front, starting to string this field out. Tempo is picking up. DNA Racing setting tempo up there.
Top three Masters podium looking for Funston and Tucker. Funston and Tucker report to the podium immediately.
Cool deal.
Garage! Go to the finish line, go to the finish line. Hey guys, go to the finish line.
Couple riders getting tied up in the corner there. If you're watching on the big screen, saw some guys lose the wheels out from underneath them. Another good reason to ride the front here at Tulsa Tough. You never know when you're going to get caught behind an incident. And now there's about 20 guys in very good position here. They're going to try and drive this one because they realize there's a split in the field. There's some riders in trouble, and they want to keep pushing that gap. So this is your front group, the guys that survived that split, and that's about the end of it on the line right there. These guys trying to weld it back.
That could have been it too. Patrick, does this belong to the camera?
A lot of riders in the pit from that little incident that was on the back stretches. They're waiting to be able to come out. We're going to be ringing the bell for a preem, but we're going to wait on that. Let all these riders re-enter the race. Normally when you come out of the pit, you're not eligible for a preem, so we're going to give them a lap to get themselves resituated and make their way a little bit more to the front of the bike race. Remember, no advantage taking a free lap. You always get thrown in near the back of the field. Brad had talked about that split in the main field right now. Pretty much half the field re-entering the race as our group now swells from what it was to about 20 riders more as they come out of the pit area. Riders coming by, just under 12 minutes of racing. Again, 60 minutes of total race time. We start off calculating time, figuring out how long it's taken them to do the first so many laps. Then a little bit later on, we will switch over to laps to go, and then they're going to know exactly how long it is until the finish line. There's that split we were talking about. Two big groups out on course, and that second group definitely is going to be under risk of being pulled unless they can catch back up and rejoin with the leaders.
All right, looks like we are ready to go with our Masters of Podium. Just wrapping up earlier, we're doing our Masters of 40 plus A podium right now. Starting with third place on the day, riding for Velo Kings Racing, presented by ATP Coaching. First up to the podium is Mark Tucker, third place today. That'll take us to second, riding for the Marks Bedstorf BPC cycling team. Next up is Bryant Funston. And top step of the podium for your Masters winner, riding for Velo Brew Cycling Club, it's Owen Schott. Masters 40 plus A, top three with Schott, Funston, and Tucker on the podium.
Right now, it looks like about 8 riders just off the back of that split, doing everything they can to reattach themselves to the back of that field. Pretty much it's now or never, because if they don't get in with that group, they're going to be a little bit more at risk of being withdrawn from the race. Gap sitting at about 15 seconds from them reattaching to the back. Right now on Sound Pony Hill as they make their way up, getting ready for that left-hand turn, the very, very fast downhill to the final turn, and then 250 meters to the finish line. A lot of racing still to go. Riders starting to be able to coast, spread out across the road. You're going to see them starting looking behind themselves, behind over their shoulders, as that washing machine effect starts to be able to take place. So a big thank you to Chris King Counseling Group as we're getting ready to ring that bell for $100.
Attention riders, got a $100 cash premium on the line. 100 cash, $100 cash, riders 100 cash to the win of the next lap. $100 cash premium, gentlemen, 100 cash next time through.
$100 brought to you by Chris King Counseling Group as we ring the bell. That indicates there's a prize for whoever crosses the line first next lap. And so that's going to be interesting to see how they're going to be able to sprint. One thing to keep in mind, right, at the finish line, you got to be able to pick the right gear. You got to figure out what side of the wheel you want to be on. You got to know where the wind is. There's a lot of different elements you need to figure out. A preem that's taking place next lap is a perfect time to practice all of those sprinting elements to make sure you have things lined up for when it comes down for the finish of the race. Preem is definitely not going to help the riders that are trying to chase to get latch onto the back of the group, but one rider now trying to attack up Sound Pony Hill. Not able to go solo. He's pulling about 25 riders behind him. And once he turns to that downhill, it's going to be decision time. Does he keep trying to keep the pace high, or does he sit up, try to be able to slot in? $100 up for grabs.
Guys on the front realizing they may be in a tough position. You see this guy constantly looking over the shoulder, waiting to get jumped for this $100 preem, and this is where it's going to happen right here out of that final corner. Riders jump up the left side. $100 on the line. Oh, beautiful sprinting right here. That's how you win some money. $100 free and clear. It's going to be Isaiah Colbreth for the Oklahoma Flyers. Picking it up at 16 years old in the category threes. $100 goes a long way for a 16-year-old.
So that young 16-year-old that picked up that $100 preem now he's just cruising. He's going at about 75, 80%. He knows he doesn't want to be able to stay out there by himself, waiting to be able to see if anybody else is willing to jump across to him. One rider by themselves, that is a tall order, a tall task to be able to stay away. A little glance over the shoulder, a little bit of less pressure on the pedals, and then the main field gradually catching up to him, saving the energy, a game of patience. That's how you win here on day number 2 of the St. Francis Tulsa Tough.
Colbreth doing a good job of holding on to just the tiniest gaps that if he does get some help up there, he'll be able to get away. But this field not looking super motivated to let any groups go. We'll see if anyone tries to counter this move as Colbreth comes back. And yeah, he's going to have some company over the top of him. It's going to be 468 DNA cycling with Ryan Hulsberg. Another Oklahoma rider for DNA Racing. This is Hulsberg right here.
Pretty incredible area right here, the Tulsa Arts District, home to retail, restaurants, bars, clubs, galleries, museums, parks, residences, and of course music venues. That includes the Tulsa Theater, the famous Cain's Ballroom, as we're in the northern section of Tulsa where the race is located today. It's one of the oldest sections of the city as we celebrate our St. Francis Tulsa Tough, brought to you by FC Tulsa. So right now, hitting that 20-minute mark, 40 minutes of racing left, a lot of time and a lot of laps to go. We have not switched over to laps yet. We're still calculating how long it's taken them to do the first 20 minutes. Soon enough, we'll be switching over to lap cards, and once that is shown, they will know how far it is to the distance, and then their total race time will equal out to be right at around 60 minutes. Two riders trying to be able to go up the road. A nice move here. Looks like the best chance of a breakaway we've seen all day so far.
Coolsburg going to have a little company here up there. I saw a little communication right there. These guys are definitely cooperating. We just saw them talking to each other if you're watching on the big screen or on the live stream. So that's what you're looking for in a breakaway. Two motivated guys on the same page. They're both strong riders, but now we see if the field is going to let them go. You also have to have the right response from the field. They've got to look at these guys and say, you know what, not a threat, let them go. If too many riders try to join this breakaway, they're all going to bring the field with them. And before you know it, that breakaway is going to be shut down. So these guys got the quick, clean break, and now it's up to this field to try to chase them back. We're rolling back through 23 minutes into the 60-minute race. Now we move off the front, looking for some help. Again, you're going to see a lot of breakaway attempts tonight, and throughout the day, we've seen a lot of these moves trying to go, but obviously only one can be successful in each race. In general, these guys know the odds are stacked against them in these breakaways, but they got to try. They got to try and get away, and so that's why you're seeing so many different breakaway attempts, because you never know until you try, and that's what these guys are trying to do up the road right now with one away, looking for some company here, because again, you are not going to do this alone for the last 35 minutes of racing here in an hour-long race. So this lead rider going to need a little bit of help. Ideally, you're looking for somewhere between maybe 3 and 5 riders in a breakaway. Although Austin Del Rosso yesterday was able to pull off a very impressive solo win. He went a little bit later than this in the race. So see if Del Rosso gets back up there today to try something.
Riders, lap cards are up, 17 laps to go, 17 laps to go. Lap cards are up as our riders all come through. So our solo breakaway riders have been reeled back in. Nothing has been able to stick for more than one lap, and that shows an indication of how fast the riders are going around here, but also the wind. And those flags are blowing. When you hit that headwind, it stops you dead in your doorsteps. So very difficult to be able to keep the power down, trying to be able to get aero. Rest of the field able to sit in, save a ton of energy. 17 laps to go, and Brad keeps talking about different riders trying to attack. Not everybody's comfortable fighting for a sprint. Not everybody has the fast twitch muscles to try to win in the final 200 meters. So certain riders are going to take their chance. They're going to roll the dice and see if they can win by themselves. One to go for this rider, just went by. One to go.
Could be Miguel Hernandez, the solo rider away here. There are certainly a lot of riders in this field that want to see a breakaway, Frankie, but not for a lack of trying today in this Category 3 field.
Miguel Hernandez just won the junior race, and so he mentioned he was going to hop into the Cat 3s, and so coming off a win, obviously he knows this course extremely well after just racing it less than a half hour ago. Actually, maybe an hour ago, I would better say, because we had our Masters riders. But Miguel Hernandez now off the front. He's out of Florida, picking up that junior win. More riders able to go into the pit. 3 laps are over once again with 5 laps to go, and Hernandez now going up the road.
Couple seconds, not a ton of panic on the front of the field. They got him right where they want him. Maximus McDonald setting tempo in front of the main group for the Bike Factory team.
I don't think Hernandez looks like he's waiting around for anyone. Look at that, head down, rocking the shoulders a little bit, keeping the pressure on the pedals. The young 17-year-old trying to destroy and blow open the Category 3 race. Right now, a lot of racing still to go. They came through with 17 laps to go. When they come around, they are getting, actually they came through with 6. What are they going to see when they come through? So when our leaders come around, they are going to be seeing 15 laps to go. Hernandez, he's not even swinging off. The young 17-year-old is just keeping pushing the pace. That's sometimes what you need to do. If you go flat out for 2 laps, you can cause the split in order to be able to get into the breakaway. And sometimes that's all that's needed. Well, if the damage isn't done on the front of the bike race, the damage is certainly being done on the back of the bike race. Wait for our leaders to come by and watch at the rear end of this group. You're going to see gaps opening up all over. Hey, Masters riders, if you lost a Wahoo Bolt, a Wahoo Element Bolt, Masters riders from our last race, perhaps in a crash, if you lost your Wahoo, come on by and pick it up at the announcing stage. Riders took to the start line, and we've already had about 20 riders end up. Riders on the start line, 20 riders have withdrawn. We're down to probably about 60 riders left in the race. That's an indication of how fast this race has been. One rider now not feeling the effects, not feeling the fatigue, trying to be able to go away solo. When he comes by, it's going to be 14 laps to go.
Oh, this is going to be an all-in move, I think, for this rider. He is going to finish this race one of 2 places, either in the breakaway or somewhere in the field, maybe off the back. This is an all-in move, all the chips in the middle here. And this is what you have to do. If you're going to try and win a breakaway at Tulsa Tough, you cannot take a move like this lightly. You're either going or not, and this guy is going at 15 laps to go.
Riding for United Cycling, cheer him on, Grant Wilkie, trying to be able to go solo. Little glance over the shoulder, no one's behind him. The 19-year-old with the biggest gap we've seen in the bike race so far. 14 laps to go, the clock is ticking. Riders, it is a 10-second gap, 10-second gap, and guess what? His teammates are on the front, Brad.
Beautiful teamwork happening out there right now. What you're seeing is a team tactic called blocking. So this guy on the front has teammates back in that main field. Those teammates have gone to the front of that group, and they're trying to slow it down so that their guy up the road can get more and more time. These guys going to get the belt for 1 lap to go. They'll finish next time through as we're going to start cleaning this course up of riders that have been dropped off the back. But really great team tactic being shown out there right now. Look at the jersey of your race leader, and then when the field comes by, you're going to see the same jerseys riding on the front because they're slowing it down. It's one of the counterintuitive strategies in bike racing where you're actually trying to go slower in the race, but if you've got a teammate up the road, you're going to slow it down. 1 to go for these guys, 1 to go right here, guys. You'll sprint next time. 1 to go, riders, 1 to go.
So Wilkie, who's off the front, coming out of Texas, 19 years old. Last lap was a 10-second gap. I would say it's pretty much holding steady. Talked about United Cycling, the other riders on his team. They are just kind of floating right around the front of the main group, trying to be able to slow things down, coasting a little bit longer through the turns, not pulling through. Great teamwork as they're trying to be able to help their teammate have a chance to be able to win.
His closest teammate lined up third in the group right now. We'll see where he is when they make their way back around. But again, looking at the teammates of Grant Wilkie out there from United Cycling. There's Wilkie.
15-second gap, 15-second gap, Grant.
And now look at his teammate, third wheel right there, 4:06. See him shaking his head? The other riders are saying, hey, why don't you do some work? Get up there to the front. And he's letting them know, I'm not doing anything in this group. That's my teammate up the road. I'm not going to help you guys chase him. So there are some really good race dynamics happening back in the main field right now.
Guess who just flew through on the front there, trying to be able to lead the chase on that red Specialized bike? That was Austin Del Rosso, your winner from yesterday, leading the charge right now. He doesn't want to let this young rider stay away. So Del Rosso, who won yesterday, now taking it into his own hands to try to bring back our one sole leader.
Gap starting to shrink a little bit. Looks like they are starting to work back in the field to reel this one back in. They're starting to get organized back there. His team can only do so much to control the field. They're not going to be able to completely box these guys in. All you're doing is just running a little bit of interference here and there. That's all the teammates can do. But eventually the other teams will figure out what that team is doing, and they'll come over the top of them. So I think they may have already figured out what the other guys on this squad are doing for their breakaway rider. And now we'll see if the gap starts coming down. group coming back together. We're going to ring $100 preem, 100 cash riders, $100 cash preem on the line, 100 cash to the winner of the next lap. 100 cash on the line, 100 cash, $100 cash preem riders next time through. Bicycles of Tulsa helping us out, presenting a $100 cash preem. Bicycle Tulsa have been a big contributor to the preems here at Tulsa Town from the very beginning. For the last several years of their cash preems in the race over the weekend, it's guaranteed one of them will be from Bicycles of Tulsa. Their little preems start at $100, so that gives you an idea of their dedication to this race. Todd Swain started at Bicycles of Tulsa back in 1996, 28 years as mechanic. And now a co-owner. He's out there racing for Cura Racing. His first time in the Friday night Cat 3s last night. He's also going to be racing the Masters. We saw him today. He'll be back out there on Sunday, along with several other guys from the shop racing for Curas in the 1-2s. We also got to give a shout out to Scott X. Started at Bicycle of Tulsa back in '98, 26 years in sales, and now a co-owner. Scott's going to be pulling one of the Ainsley's Angels on Sunday. These guys truly committed to the local bike community, so show them some love. Go visit our friends at Bicycles of Tulsa as they have put up a $100 cash preem. Thank you, Bicycles of Tulsa.
Coming in hot, Jacob Evans. Jason Evans. Is your brother still in there? I'm assuming it's your brother. No? I got a Jacob Evans and a Jason Evans. How was it? Pretty hard out there? Bad legs. Never makes for a good day when you have bad legs. Hey, thanks for coming out here. Day number 2 at Tulsa. Look at that sprint right there. Number 429 is going to be picking that up. That's a great one. The young riders continue to dominate. Nolan Cox, who's not young at all, 36 years old.
Hey, watch it. So now we'll see if Nolan going to try and roll this breakaway, if he just pulls the plug. A lot of times we'll see riders sprint for a preem and then realize that they have a gap after the preem and say, I'm going to try and roll this one. I'm going to stay on it. So watching Nolan Cox up there in the white jersey to see if he's going to try and keep this breakaway going.
Our preem winner coming from Louisiana as he makes his way around. He's going to get caught up on that Sound Pony Hill, just coming up to the top. Field head down, going straight past him in a single file line. We've talked about it many times, especially yesterday. We're going to talk about it a lot more today. Watch the shape of the field. If they are in a single file line, that's an indication they are going hard and the race is going fast. If they start to swell up, if it's 4 across, 5 across, that means they're trying to be able to take a breather, and perhaps a breather is what they need. Coming up with 9 laps to go, trying to be able to get ready for the finish of this bike race here on day number 2, Notorious Tulsa.
group starting to slow up a little bit out there, hitting the reset button here as they see 9 laps to go on the counter. These guys are starting to realize that a breakaway is becoming less and less likely as we get closer and closer towards the finish. So you're going to see the last-ditch efforts of guys trying to get away now, but pretty soon, if a breakaway doesn't go, they're going to resign to the fact that this will be a field sprint, and then it's just kind of a waiting game, waiting until that last lap, trying to be as efficient as possible, trying to save as much energy as possible so that you can try and win that sprint. So right here at 9, 8, 7 laps to go, somewhere in there, these are the last opportunities that you're going to have to get a breakaway going. So these guys making a last-ditch effort to try to avoid a sprint in Tulsa today.
Yeah, just as Brad was talking about, some riders are sprinters. They have the fast twitch muscles. They love the final 200 meters. Other riders, they like going from a long ways out. They're the strong men, and they know they don't have the speed to compete against some of these fast riders, so they're going to try to be able to get into the breakaway. A lot of racing still to go as they just came through. 8 laps to go for the riders.
It's like dropping
It's a POS. It ain't no Honda, man.
Is that one of those?
I don't think it's a Honda plate.
Couple of tacks rolling off the front here. Some guys trying to take a look. Got a nice little gap at 8 to go here. Away. We're going to start ringing this bell because we got a $100 cash preem on the line next time through. $100 cash to the winner of the next lap. $100 cash preem next time through. Callan, if you can stay away, you're $100 richer. $100 preem runners, 100 cash, 100 cash, 100 cash to the winner of the next lap. Going to get caught here and in fact passed on the backside here. I think that's Matthew Richards, Mustangs jersey. Richards going to put a whole lap effort into this $100. Field trying to chase now. A lot of guys getting out of the saddle. This might be too little too late for the preem at least. We'll see if Richards can at least hold on to the cash. He's got a nice gap into the penultimate turn here. Richards going to see 6 as he makes his way down the line. Doesn't look like the field's going to get him out of the last corner. So Matthew Richards going to roll across the line. $100 richer for the Mustangs. Payday. But look at this, field stringing out to chase Richards. Gaps opening up, guys having to move off to the side here. This is a tough decision, Frankie. 6 laps to go is kind of right on the edge of being doable for a solo rider here. Remember, he already got the $100 premium from Smith Farm and Garden, but now I think Richards could have a chance at winning this bike race if he's got 6 laps left in those legs.
Richards has a couple good results this year, but you know what he's missing? A win. This would be a massive victory for him if he can be able to stay away. Anybody that's been sitting in, they are waiting. A lot of fresh legs. Look at that. That's a great sign. He looks over his shoulder, and guess what he saw? Nothing. That gap is increasing. This is a huge opportunity when he comes around with 5 laps to go. And look at the field, how they're spread out across the road. No one is attacking right now, Brad.
Yeah, nobody in charge back there in the main group. Now some riders starting to come forward, but it's 1s and 2s. There is no concerted effort in the field. That is great news for Richards, that these guys aren't cooperating as a unit in the main group. His worst case scenario is that 8 or 10 riders cooperate to bring him back. But right now it's just 2 or 3 guys kind of doing their own thing at the front of the field.
If you're wondering, the rider in the red jersey coming down the home stretch, his first name is Matt. Tulsa, you need to cheer him on and make some noise. Let's cheer on Matt as he's coming through with 5 laps to go.
Richards can do this if he's got the legs. The field is really struggling to get organized here. That's good news for Matt Richards.
Remember, coming through, this is a tailwind. You're able to hit that stretch, and through our home stretch, a little bit of a tailwind until they get onto the back stretch. So overall, the back stretch is the headwind section. The home stretch is the tailwind section.
Well, that's why no one wants to pull on this home stretch. They're all looking around at each other, trying to get someone else to do the work on the front of the main field, because no one wants to use their energy this late in the race. They're all trying to save their energy and basically trying to be the laziest guys out there, because they know that in 5 laps they're going to have to sprint for the end of this bike race. And so what's happening is they're all passing the buck back in the main field. When you try and talk about who's going to lead this group and go catch Matt Richards, they're all saying, you do it. No, you do it. I'm not doing it. You do it. And the job's not getting done. And so while these guys are all pointing fingers left and right, Matt Richards is just steady as a rock up there on the front. And he is gaining time out there every single lap. The field just cannot get their act together today.
So right now, if you're sitting in that main field, you're thinking about that final sprint. You're thinking about not doing any work, trying to be able to save your energy, and that's why nobody's on the front chasing. Anybody who ends up doing the work right now is not going to have any energy for that final sprint. And so with 4 laps to go, it's playing into Richards' hands. His gap continues to increase. 4 to go. Clock going by right now at 49:50 as we're going to continue to be able to count. Look at it, they're not even around the turn yet. Now they come around that final turn. We're at 20 seconds, coming up on 25 seconds. I'm going to call it a 30-second gap. 1 rider up the road, 30 seconds is the gap. 30-second gap to 1 rider up the road, 4 laps to go. No more free laps as well, riders. No more free laps.
I think Richards might have this one. These guys really underestimated how strong Matt Richards is out there. And while they were trying to figure out what the heck is going on, Matt Richards has just been slowly but surely putting time into this group. And I think it's going to pay off today at 4 laps to go here. Richards still looking good. I'm not seeing a ton of signs of fatigue. He's definitely feeling it, Frankie. But I think he's got 4 laps left in the tank here.
Definitely been glancing over his shoulder a pretty good amount, checking on where that field is, seeing if he's going to get caught. Richards out of Wisconsin, finding the Midwest form very early on here in Tulsa. A huge victory opportunity for him. All he has to be able to do is stay aero, keep it going, recover, try to be able to keep it steady. Remember, the main field is going to surge and then they're going to slow down. They're going to surge and then they're going to slow down. And when that happens, that plays into the field of the one lone rider as he gets ready to come around and see 3 laps to go. you, Richards, Mr. Consistent. 25 seconds is the gap. 25 seconds, 3 laps to go. Well, you know what? He looks pretty good, but the face is showing otherwise. He's starting to, that smile is starting to turn into a frown, a little bit of a grimace, the heat taking its toll.
Yeah, he will not win this bike race by 25 seconds. This guy will give up time before the end of the day today, but at this point, he can afford to give up, what, 8 seconds per lap and still win by at least a couple seconds. It doesn't matter how much you win by, he's just got to hold on. So we'll see if the field can get organized. Yeah, now they're splitting in the field. This one is not coming back.
You know what's pretty remarkable? Yesterday on day number 1, a solo breakaway in our Category 3 race. It was Del Rosso. He went away for 25 laps to be able to win the Cat 3 race. Now today, pretty much unthinkable. Another solo victory possible. And this time it's going to be Richards going away for about 8 laps. So an incredible ride on day 1, and it continues here on day number 2. Tulsa Tough, with the courses that we have here, are not known for the breakaway riders. It is not known for solo victories, but that's exactly what we're seeing.
Richards is dying 1,000 deaths out there. If you're watching on the live stream or the big screens throughout the venue, you can see him gritting his teeth, gasping for air here. This guy is going to need some help when he gets back through here. He is fading and fading fast for Richards on the front. He will lose time this lap, but remember, he's got a nice chunk of time in the bank to play with. Let's help Matt Richards out a little bit. Keep this guy going at 2 laps to go. Can he solo in Tulsa? 2 to go.
I don't know who he's waving at, because I would be getting down low and trying to be able to gain as much time as possible. This is going to come down to tooth and nail if he's going to be able to pull this off.
Well, Tulsa, you saw it. He is begging for your help as he came through the start-finish line here. They really can hear it and feel it. When you create this tunnel of noise for these guys on the start-finish line, it means something. Let these guys hear it. 2 laps to go for your Category 3s. All right, getting ready to dial our friend Daniel Holloway in for our 1-2 race coming up here. Meanwhile, Frank Andreu out on course, got his bell ready, because we are getting ready to ring this guy up for 1 lap to go. He has made the gap, and now he needs your help, Tulsa. He's got 1 more time around this course. Make some noise at 1 lap to go. Oh, he can smell victory here from Matthew Richards. And now, where is this field? Richards has got time to grab a bottle here. Field now going to be racing for 2nd and 3rd. Let them hear you now. Tulsa down to 1 to go for your field. 1 to go.
Let's go,
What a ride we've seen from Matt Richards right now on that downhill. Perhaps he could become an honorary Tulsa citizen. Well deserved with this ride as he's getting ready to celebrate. You know what? For the last 2 laps, he's been celebrating on his own. In his mind, he has already won this bike race. Tulsa, you need to cheer him on when he comes around that final turn and make some noise.
There are few races that live up to the legend that is Tulsa Tough, and a solo win on a day like today is one that you will replay for a long time coming. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Matt Richards!
Here comes our main group right now. Podium up for grabs. Remember, it's second and third. Here they come in that final sprint. Mad dash to the line. The sprinters now coming to the front. That's going to be taken by Christian Hofstra. 19 years old out of Alabama, with Hofstra picking up a second place.
Unofficially, Isaiah Colbreth going to pick up third place on the day for the Oklahoma Flyers as Christian Hofstra picks up a silver, but the day belongs to Matthew Richards, your solo winner off the front today on day 2 of the notorious Tulsa Tough.